Hey, what's going on, everybody? Andrew here, back for our build review show. It is Monday, December 23rd of 2024. And on this show, I bring users builds up live on stream, giving them personalized feedback and advice about things I think they can do different in their builds to help improve their post-contest sim ROIs and ultimately help them to build and submit stronger lineups into their contests. So we do this show typically Mondays and Fridays at 5 p.m. Eastern. If you ever want to get signed up for a show, all you need to do is drop your DK username in the office hours channel. Let us know what sport and slate you want us to review, and I will add you to the list for the next show. Before we get started, I did want to answer this one question that came in ahead of the show, and apologies if I'm a little slow or sniffly, feeling a little sick here. And second show of the day is getting to me a little bit. So no worries there. But first question I wanted to address was, are flashback entries tab only available for the ultimate account? No. Contest flashback is available on all of our subscription levels. All you need to do to access it is go back to a past slate, right? So I'm going to go, say, to yesterday's NFL slate. Even if I didn't play the slate, you can look. If you didn't play the contest, you can look, right? So I'm gonna go to the DK main. I'm gonna go to contest. Notice I have no entry file uploaded. All I need to do is go in here and click on any one of these contests. Okay, the name will light up green. I go in, I click on it. After I click on it, the data will load. Once this loading lineups button goes away, then what I recommend is closing these other tabs. This will expand. This section is going to be blank if you didn't play it, because this is the mine section. You can go to leaderboard and see the top lineups listed from the top down, or you can go to users and see a snapshot of all of the user level summary statistics, sim ROI, etc. here. So this is how you access the tool and use it, but we'll go in depth during the show here about how to use it. So actually, for today, nobody signed up for the show, but I figured I could show you guys how I review my lineups. So I haven't done any review in a couple days here, and basically since like the weekend. And I've been playing a ton of DK because they've been running like a promotion for like free tickets, and you have to like play like so much stuff a day. So I'm going to show you guys that. All right. So this earn your DFS present. I've been playing this like every day. So it was like Thursday, I had to like enter something, and then Friday, and then Saturday, and then Sunday. So I got to enter another one today, and then on Christmas. So I've been playing this DK promo, and I haven't done any review from it. So I'm actually pretty interested to see how I've been doing over the weekend. Betty Hanna said, "Hey, Andrew, happy holidays to you and your family. Likewise to you as well, and to everybody watching." So I figured it's a good opportunity to kind of catch up here and see how I've been doing. So let's go to Thursday. I had to play one lineup in the Wildcat, which is not something I normally talk about, or not a contest I normally play. Oh, actually, I think, what did I do here? I don't know. Let's go to here. Oh, I might have hand built it because I think I saw it late. Let's see how my lineup did, though. So I'm basically going to spend the time showing you guys like, hey, how I look at stuff, how I analyze stuff, what I think, etc. here. Oh, I hope my thing is in here. All right. So I had one lineup, 14% sim ROI. If I just sort by sim ROI, a little bit on the low side. If I had to guess, my sim average score is like a little low here. I was unique, but it seems like I maybe just played a lineup that was like a little too, what's the word I'm looking for? Not like too low projected. So that would be my guess here. Something I could account for like in future builds, right? So in order to account for it, like what can I do, right? Well, I could try and play higher projected captains, right? Maybe the captain I chose wasn't a good point per dollar value. Like I'm sure the builder probably liked Lad McConkey a lot more because he's a much higher value as far as projection compared to salary here. So like that's something you could consider. You could consider lineup filters, right, for projection. You could consider aggregate rules for projection, right? There's a bunch of different ways you could do that. So my notes here would be like, hey, probably play higher projected lineup. Be a good idea. And then let's check out the bootleg. This is something I normally play, like a few entries in like a medium stakes contest. I've talked previously on the show how I don't think I'm a very good showdown MMEer, so I try and only build a few lineups, and this is like the strategy I often take. So what I would do is I would come in here, say show lineups greater than or equal to 3 entries, sort by sim ROI. So this isn't bad, right? I'm like 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11th on the list. 19% positive. You know, this is like kind of where I aim to be. I think again here, right? What I'm seeing is like my sim average score is low again. So kind of just like a trend on this slate. I did like Cortland Sutton, so I probably sacrificed some sim average score to get to him. He didn't end up doing that well. That happens. That's okay. But at least, you know, even with my personal takes being implemented, I'm still building strong lineups. So all in all, I would be pretty happy with the way my lineups graded out in this contest, right? And then I would keep going. So let's do this one. I'll answer questions as we go. How much is too much chalk to fade in a showdown? You know, it's a hard question to answer, right? I mean, I think what you need to be aware of is you always got to account for duplication, right? Just because it's already hard to build the winning lineup, right? Now, you know, you got to consider like, hey, if you do build the winning lineup, how many other players are you going to share that first place prize with, right? So like, for instance, one year, I remember like I split the Super Bowl showdown, like Millie Maker, but it was like incredibly duplicated. And I only got like, you know, $2,500 like from that lineup, right? Like probably a bad lineup all in all considered. That was like a long time ago in my DFS trajectory. But, you know, when you do win, right, you want to try and get more of that first place equity. So you got to account for duplication. If you want to learn the best ways that we believe to account for duplication, I would go to our help docs. I would go to tutorials, and I would check out this video. How do ownership product and ownership geometric mean work? This will give you a good idea of like where the cutoff point is for accounting for duplication and how much you want to account for. So check out that video. It should help you to give you an idea of how much chalk is too much chalk to sacrifice on a contest by contest basis, because, you know, that's actually like really important thing to think about, because, you know, you might be playing a showdown, sure, but are you playing, you know, a contest with 5,000 entries, or are you playing a contest with 118,000 entries, right? Are you playing a contest with 23,000 entries? That has a big, that is a very, very important variable when considering how much chalk is too much chalk in a showdown. So the geometric mean calculation does take the number of entrants in your contest into account, which is really important in my opinion. So check out that video, dropped it here in the YouTube chat, and it should help you out. All right. Next question is ROI better than projected lineup is? The answer is yes, in our opinion, right? We do not think sorting by average projection is indicative of lineup upside. You know, you're basically saying, how does this lineup do on average, right? But if you look at the payout structures of these contests, right? All of these contests, 24% to first, 20% to first, 31%, right? So more often you're going to see a range from like 10 to 30, but it's usually somewhere in the middle, right? Like 20 to 25%. You know, a lot of money is going to first place, and a lot of money is going to the top 10 positions in the contest, right? You want to build lineups with high upside, and ROI accounts for that, right? ROI is saying like, hey, you know, how often does this lineup get to the top of the contest where all the money is. So we definitely recommend using ROI if you're using the contest sims. All right. Good stuff there. So let's keep going. I'm going to keep reviewing some lineups here. So I'm still on, where am I at? Thursday's NBA slate. So this is typically like how I play NBA, right? I'm trying to spread out my action as much as possible into as many unique into as many uncorrelated contests / slates as possible, right? So like I am prioritizing the turbos and night slates mostly. I didn't even play these mains. I just have them up, but I played like the showdown and then like 4 turbos, right? And then across the turbos, you know, hey, look, I get like $200 down in this one. I get 200 in the next one, 200 in the next one, 200 in the next one. You know, those entry fees add up. You can get a lot of action down in these uncorrelated slates. So I'm going to go in here and just like check out, you know, like 1 or 2 contests per slate. So I'm just going to do like the quote unquote like flagship for this one. Okay, you know, how did I do? Okay, look at people who entered greater than or equal to 10 entries, sort by sim ROI. Cool, you know, I'm 25% here. That is 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6th on the list. Perfect. You know, I just kind of want to be toward the top. 1 average dupe, pretty in line. 6 uniques out of 10. Okay, all of my lineups under 5 dupes. And my sim average score looks in line, right? 246.6. We see like 247, 251, 246, 245. So it makes sense, you know, why I graded out well in this contest. Pretty happy with my results. Okay, boom, you know, on to the next one, right? And I would typically, you know, what I do recommend here is doing this a little more often, right? Like, so I think it's actually good practice to do this like the next day, you know. It's like if I played this late, before I start looking at Friday, I should review my results from Thursday. Now that doesn't always happen. You know, things get in the way. You know, I understand I'm obviously a victim of that, you know, right here, where I'm not doing it every day, but I am making sure it gets done, right? That way I can make adjustments if I need to. Okay. So this next one, greater than or equal to 8 entries. And notice, you know, I am entering less than the maximum in all these contests. I talk about that all the time, right? Like, hey, it is okay to enter less than the maximum number of lineups in a contest. And I do a ton of that. All right. So this one, 7.5%, not as high of a number, still pretty good on the list, right? I'm like 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7th on the list here. It's not that many positive sim ROIers in this contest. Tells me like it's a little bit of a lower edge contest. What do we see though? So 0 average dupes, 8 out of 8 unique. My sim average score is pretty good. 256. I see, you know, 258, 255, 254, 259, 254, 260. So there's a few people below me. There's some above. I'm seem to be like right in the middle. I'm kind of surprised I'm like single digit as opposed to a little bit higher, but I'm not that worried about it. So it seems good. I'm basically looking like, hey, did I make a mistake somewhere? Right. And then when I figure out like, hey, where did I make a mistake? How can I adjust for it? Question. How can you translate that into the next day when you're running sims or talking about it now? So this is more process stuff, right? So it's like, hey, you know, I effectively, you know, have a process that I follow, right? And I think this is like really important. So this is something that Andy, you know, CEO of SaberSim, like made me do one day. He was like, hey, I want you to build for a slate and I want you to write down every step that you do and don't think about it. And then I'm like, okay. And I did it, right? And he's like, okay, now go back and justify every decision, every action you took and write down a reason why you did it. And for some of the reasons, for some of the steps, I had good reasons. For some of them, I didn't really know why I was doing it, or I didn't have like a good, strong reason for doing those. And for those things, he told me just stop doing them. You know, you're probably wasting your time. At best, it's probably 50-50. If you don't know why, if you can't, you know, be like convicted in what you're doing, then, you know, it's probably a waste of time. So one thing it did is made my process leaner. And then 2, it gave me more time to focus on the things that were actually adding value to my process. And then, you know, your process gets better because you're hyper focused on the things that you're doing good. And now you have extra attention on those things. So the other thing it does, right, is it allows you to be very objective in your review. Like, okay, if I go through these and I'm like, okay, I am consistently grading out good. Perfect. My process is good. But what if I wasn't, right? What if I was always neutral? What if I was negative? It's like, well, there's something in this checklist that's wrong, right? Something in this checklist that's not going good. And then you can easily start to remove things, start to add things. One thing I've had trouble with personally in the past is I might have a good process, but new ideas and new concepts come to me. I might forget to do old things that were actually good, right? So having it written down, make sure I don't ever skip anything. Make sure, I have like a checklist. It could be a piece of paper, could be Word doc, could be a number of different things, right? But I'm basically going through this and saying, okay, are the steps that I'm following still good? Because DFS is adapting, right? DFS is always adapting, changing, metas change. You got to be prepared to adapt. And so I'm like, are the things I'm still doing good, or do I need to start adjusting, or, is something wrong? Like, where did I mess up? And, I'll typically find that at some point along the way and make an update. So let's keep rolling. Okay. I don't remember if this is the same one. No, this looks different. Okay. Greater than or equal to 8. Again, sort by sim ROI. Okay, cool. Top 5 looking good. All the metrics look good, right? High salary, no dupes, unique lineups, maintaining a high enough sim average score to offset the I don't know what I was going to say. Sim average, but good enough sim average score in line with some of these guys. Maybe a little bit low. That's why I'm at like 30. They're at like 40 to 50, but it's okay. I'm satisfied with that. All right, last one for this day. Night slate. And the other thing, right, to mention here is I don't remember how I did this day, right? As far as like actual dollars, like won or lost, I don't remember. And the second thing is like, okay, I don't want to like lie, but like I wanted to say like I don't care. Like obviously like I do care, right? Like sim ROI isn't paying the bills, but sim ROI does, tell me like, hey, are you on the right path or not, right? So my like NBA season, right? My NBA season started like on like a downturn, and then I finally had a hit, and I went up, right? I was iterating the process. I was when the process wasn't good, but the numbers were good in the post contest sims. I was sticking with it, right? Just because you're losing doesn't mean you're always doing something wrong. So here I'm trying to be very objective. Trust the sims. I have not come over here and like looked at my sim result section once, because all right, so let's keep it going. Okay, greater than or equal to 10 sim ROI. Good, right up here, top 5, 6, a lot of the metrics look good. I keep rolling, right? So like this tells me my process is on the right path, and I'm doing a lot of the right things, right? So pretty happy with this so far. Benihana said, okay, I've been studying my process the last couple of days, and I see my sim ROI is 5 points off from my actual ROI. I don't know what the sim 99 profit means. Can you tell me? Yeah, sure. So let's go to the next day. And we had a 3-game slate here. I think I played both of these, so we'll check them out. All right, so we're moving on to Friday. I'm going to study some different contests just because I had so few in the flagship. But like, yeah, this is even like what my contest selection looks like, right? Talk about contest selection, single entry, 3 max balance. I got quarter jig boxes in here. I got 50-cent mini maxes. I got $27 single entries, right? $40 single entries, like balancing it out, taking a few shots at the big one, and trying to find like a nice balance here. But let's go look at the mini max. And then we'll review this question again. So let this load. Okay, go over to users. People entered 150. Sort by sim ROI. okay, like if I were reviewing this, I'm like, hey, if you're in top like 15% plus, you're probably doing something right. I'm like right under that, like 12.78. I wouldn't be too concerned about it, right? What would be my takeaways? Hey, 3-game slate duplication, pretty important, right? We see double-digit duplication here. I'm in the single digit. I'm already aware that duplication is important on 3-game slates, so I'm accounting for it, right? And I'm pretty happy with my results here. So, Benny Honest said, I've been studying my process the last couple of days, and I see my sim ROI is 5 points off from my actual ROI. I don't know what the sim 99 profit means. Can you tell me? Okay, so 2 things here. Your sim ROI and your actual ROI will probably like always be off. That's super normal. It's because, we're running this slate 100,000 times, and then what actually happened is, can be so different than your results. But like, that's why we do that, right? Like, hey, this slate could go a number of different ways. Like I'm almost positive. I could be wrong. Jimmy Butler left this slate like with an illness. Like he got sick in like the first quarter and like he never came back or something like that. And I think Tyler Hero like ended up, being really good, right? Like that's super weird, right? Like your actual ROI, gets so skewed by like random things happening, right? Injuries, guys getting ejected, guys, performing bad. Like there's a number of different reasons, right? That's like why we recommend like, hey, look at your sim ROI and, okay, yeah, I had negative 34% ROI day. Does that mean I should throw everything out and like start over? Like that's kind of what we want you to avoid, right? And then the other thing is your sim 99th profit. So what this means, so effectively what we do, right, is we run the actual lineups in the contest, through the slate 100,000 times. For every player, we effectively get a payout distribution. So the same way we have like player distributions with like the graph, right? You get that for your lineups, for your outcomes. So we're basically telling you, hey, out of the 100,000 simulations, if we just looked at the top 1,000 sorting by your most profit to your least, you made this much money. So in 1% of the sims, you made at least, or I could say I made at least, $957 with this set of lineups in this contest. So this is telling you what your upside outcome looks like. All right. So this looks good here. Happy with this. Let's go to the next slate. And I actually do remember the slate because I had a good slate here. So I took second in this flagship contest. Look, 70 max contest, 7 entries, $15, and I took second. So this was a good one. And let's load this. Let's try again. Hard refresh should work. All right, while we load this up, question, what percentile is the best to go by? So if you're looking at the lineup percentiles, 99th percentile is good, right? It's top 1%. It's kind of like we were talking about the 99th. It's basically the lineup with the top score in 1% of the sims, right? And we're hunting for upside outcomes, right? You want to get in the top 1%. You want to get in the top 0.1%, right? Like that's where all the money in these contests are. So like, for instance, like this contest, right? 2,352 entries. Top 1% is top 24 entries. Top 0.1% is like the top 3. You're really trying to get in the top 0.1 more often than not. So 99th percentile would get you as close to that as possible. So I would say 99th percentile. All right. Let's see. Greater than or equal to 7 entries. Sort by sim ROI. Oh, I crushed this slate. See, I love this, right? Top sim ROIer based on, the number of entries that I had. And, I get rewarded for it, right? Actually, all these users got rewarded. So, KD Griffin, right, gets rewarded. Crafty Lefty gets rewarded. It's nice to see, when those sim ROIs, kind of come to fruition here and actually pay off, right? So pretty cool to see top 3 sim ROIers all did pretty good in this contest. All right. So that's some NBA review on Saturday, right? Hey, Saturday was the first 2-game, Saturday slate for NFL, right? I didn't play NBA this day, but I did play some of these showdowns, 2-game Saturday slate. If you haven't really played any 2-game Saturday slates, like maybe you don't really play the, Sunday night to Monday night or like the Monday to Thursday, but like, we're getting into the end of the season, we're getting into playoffs. Like, hey, a 2-game slate on a Saturday, I will definitely do that, right? Like, hey, it's good opportunity to come in and study some contest flashback for 2-gamers, right? Like it's kind of that time of the year. So I'm starting with the showdown. And again, this is the $33, the same contest that I normally play here. All right. Go to users. Greater than or equal to 3, sort by sim ROI. Okay, cool. So positive 16%. One average dupe, one unique, 83 sim average score. See here, my sim average score is actually a lot closer to the other sets, which is why I'm like 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7th on this list. That Thursday one, I sacrificed more sim average score because I had an opinion about the slate. So just always, be aware, like when you have opinions on the slate, you might end up sacrificing some metrics that the builder likes and end up on lower sim ROI lineups. But still happy with my 16% here. So, showdown process looking good. Let's go double check it, right? Let's go look at another showdown. And again, same contest here. Different slate. All right, cool. Greater than or equal to 3 entries. Okay, see, this is interesting, right? Negative 2% sim ROI. So like, hey, why did I grade out good in another one, but bad in this one when it's the same process, right? Okay, well, what did I do wrong? 0 average dupes. I mean, that seems pretty good. 2 out of 3 uniques looks good. My sim ROI my sim average score is actually in line with all these other ones, and my lineups are unique. Like, I have no idea what went wrong here, right? So what do? I go and I look closer at the lineups. It's like, okay, hey, which one graded out bad? So this top one, 11% positive. Okay, seems good. 0 dupes. This next. So what does the third one tell me? Negative 23% sim ROI, 1 dupe. Okay. So let's see if we can figure out what's wrong with it, right? 81 projected score. These other lineups have 81 projected score. Or this one's 81.5. The other one's 80.6. The other one's 82.7. So that doesn't seem bad. Jackson, Flowers, Andrews, Harris, Austin, Steelers. To be honest, I have no idea why this lineup's bad, right? There's not much. I'm seeing like, okay, maybe it's Steelers D. It's like, okay, well, I use Steelers D and Najee in this other one, right? There's some correlation there. Like these lineups are actually exactly the same, except you swap out Justin Tucker for Calvin Austin. Like that is the only difference in these lineups. And the only thing I'm seeing, right, is that Austin was 39% owned and Tucker was 19% owned. So maybe something with like some ownership here causing this lineup to be negative. To be honest, my conclusion here is I wouldn't change anything or do anything different, but I would like remember this. So I'd be like, okay, I had a lineup that was negative, that was like 20% some ownership higher than the other two. Maybe there's something to think about if I see this trend continue going forward. So it's more just like a mental note. If you want to write it down, like you can, it's totally fine. But my conclusion is, okay, kind of weird. No action yet. Just make a mental note of what's going on there. All right. Saturday slate, 2-gamer. What do we play? Got 150 in the mini max. Go check that out. All right. Let's close these. Go over to users. 150 lineups. Ooh, this is interesting, right? So I'm negative 4.5% sim ROI in this contest, right? Highest sim ROIs, somewhere above 5%. So what does that tell me, right? That tells me like this is actually like a low edge contest. This mini max, wow, 118,000 entries. And see, like the highest sim ROI is achievable, like 15%. That's really not that much. And you're spending, $75. Like if you had to choose between the 50-cent 150 max and the $3.20 max, maybe you're like, okay, hey, I can get 150 entries in this contest. It'll help smooth out my variance as opposed to only having 20 for like a similar dollar amount. Like I can see somebody making that decision. And I think that's like a normal line of thinking. But then what if you go to the $3.20? It's like, hey, you can get up to like 50% plus sim ROIs, like highest is like 85, right? Like you should definitely be playing the $3.20 max before playing the 50-cent mini max, even though the 50-cent mini max is a contest under $3 and the Sharks don't have access to it. But this $3 contest, they do have access to it because the prize pool is so big. I would still play the $3.20 max instead, right? So, you could come to that conclusion, right? And figure out different things about contest selection and different decisions that you want to make, right? So see, this is a good thing for me, like to come in here and review, because I'm noticing that like, hey, my lineups are not grading out good and I need to do something about this, right? So, okay, 150 entries, sim ROI, I'm negative, right? Like, okay, why am I so negative? I have 29 average dupes. If I go and look at people with similar average dupes, they just have way higher sim average scores, like 119 compared to 115, 117 compared to 115. If I want to play 115, right, I need to be probably closer to like 15 dupes on average. So I could play a sim average score of 115, but I need to cut my dupes in half, or I need to increase my sim average score, right? One of these two will work. So, this line of thinking, right, is basically exactly what we talk about for Showdown. So maybe I'm not thinking about, this type of contest, right? Maybe I'm treating it more like a classic slate, and maybe I need to treat it more like a Showdown. So like my notes here are like, hey, 2-game NFL slates, like treat them like Showdown, like go into Geomean, like go and look at, optimal lineup constructions, popular captains, popular stacks, and, do things to account for duplication more than I'm doing right now, right? Like those are the mental notes that I'm taking, and they don't have to be mental. Like they can be physical. You can write it down for, there's another, I think a 2-game slate on Christmas, right? I'm like almost positive. So 2-game Christmas slate. Guess what? I'm going to, before Christmas, probably right after this show, I'm going to go to my checklist and, maybe I have one for like big classics. Well, maybe I need to make a new one for NFL 2-gamers, and I'm going to go and update it and be like, hey, I need to treat this like way, way different and make some additional notes to come up with some new process, some new steps, and add them, for this alt slate type. All right. So we looked at, NFL, we looked at NBA, right? And that's what I'm doing, right? Like this is what, I would recommend continuing to do on a regular basis here, right? So that was Thursday, Friday, Saturday. Honestly, I'm down to do Sunday. I played a bunch of slates on Sunday. If you guys want to hang out with me and want to watch me go through all of these, then I appreciate you guys sticking around. You know, the reason we're doing this today is because nobody signed up for the show and I wanted to do some review, right? Like, hey, I got to review my lineups. I want to show you guys how I'm reviewing. So I'm going to go through this whole Sunday here and I'm going to stay on stream while I do it. It might be a little repetitive, you know, just because we've already done Showdown, we've already done NFL, but I mean, look, I gotta knock this out, and that's what this Showtime is for. So hope you guys enjoy the repetition, but if not, you know, I understand, and you guys want to start looking at NBA, it's cool. But whatever you guys want to do, I will be here knocking these out. So I'm gonna start from top down. So this is what my contest selection for a Sunday looks like, right? Normally there's some FanDuel in here, just because I mentioned at the beginning of the show, you know, I've been playing that DK promo for like having so many entry fees like on a given day. So I basically solely focused on DK. Normally I would mix in both. So just small disclaimer there, but again, you know, trying to focus on uncorrelated slates first, right? So all the showdowns, right? And then guess what? I moved to afternoon only because those are smaller, right? Afternoon 2 Bro 3 games. Afternoon only 4 games. Where's the other one? I don't see it here. Where is it? Oh, early only. There it is. I was missing this one, right? Early only. I'm almost positive I didn't play the DK main, right? I could check later. I played the night showdown. I played the 2-game prime time, right? I did play NBA. So there's a lot going on. It's a very busy Sunday. But let's start with the Titans. Okay, cool. Pull this up. And for these, right, I'm still only entering like a small number of lineups because I told you guys like that's what I do for Showdown. I just can't build lots and lots of good Showdown lineups. I've tried, believe me. All right. Greater than or equal to 10. Sort by sim ROI. Okay, so 20% sim ROI, definitely not the highest. Highest would probably be like 50% plus. But 20%, you know, I'm not upset about it. I think here, one average dupe. Oh, wait. I didn't set the filter. That's what happened. Greater than or equal to 10. So those single-digit lineups are like always going to be higher just because it's just like one lineup. But 20% sim ROI. Okay, this looks a lot better, right? Now, sim average score is on the lower side. I think this is just like the approach I take, trying to get more unique, maybe sacrificing some sim average score to get there. It looks like, see, like this guy right here, Mr. CSE 13, same average dupes, more lineups, but you know, their sim average score is like 2.5 points higher. You know, that's like something I could like strive for because it's like a really strong set of lineups, in my opinion. Or even Niquisition, right? One average dupe, 80 sim average score. Like, hey, they're getting to sim average scores of 80 and they're still only duping one time. Like that's actually really cool, right? Like look at his lineups and then look at mine and then look at the difference, right? Like 4.3 sim average score higher. Like whatever these lineups look like, these lineups, yeah, they're definitely better than mine. That's why they're the top sim ROI here. So I'm on the right track. Could dig in a little deeper. I'm like, hey, what is the big differences here and how are they getting to such stronger lineups than I am? But I got a lot to go through here and I'm pretty happy with my results. So I could dig in further, but it's all good. All right. Let's load up the next one. Detroit, Chicago. Okay. All right, cool. So good results again, right? 24% sim ROI, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7th on the list. Kind of seeing like a trend, right? Like not the highest, you know, not shady advice here. Niquisition's another one I'm seeing a lot. But doing good, right? So 3 average dupes, 2 uniques, 89 sim average score. Again, a little bit lower than some of the other ones, but I think that's just my style. So seems fine. On to the next, right? So what I'm doing here, right? Like, because I'm going to run into some of these where I'm ultimately negative, right? The reason I'm playing so many showdowns is because I get a bigger sample size. Like, hey, is my showdown process good, right? Like, I'm not only playing on Mondays and Thursdays. You know, I'm increasing my sample size significantly to tell me like, hey, is this process good? And like, what if I only played, one showdown and I graded out bad? Maybe I'd want to change it, right? But like, I might grade out well, and like, I'd say I probably grade out well in like 80% of these. I'm able to say like, okay, yeah, I graded out bad in 20%, but I did grade out good in 80%. I think those results are indicative enough for me not to need to change my process. So just, more slate, bigger sample size, and it can help you to get a better sense of if you're doing something right or wrong. All right, users, greater than or equal to 5, sim ROI. Cool. 40% here, closer to like top 10, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. Same range, low average dupes, little bit low on the same average score, perfect, right? This is kind of what I expect at this point, right? You kind of learn like what to expect your lineups to look like. All right. Keeping it rolling. Rams, Jets, greater than or equal to 5, sim ROI. Okay, so this one's interesting, right? 2% sim ROI. So this one's down, right? This one's way down from some of the others. And like, what did I do wrong here? 2 average dupes, 1 unique, 1 under 5, or 5 under 5. So they're all under 5. 86 sim average score. Okay, well, I mean, that's not like so different from like KD Griffin, right? 2 average dupes, same as me. They had a lot more lineups, but their sim average score is 87.3. So like 1.3 sim average score low. Giant Beer is like right next to me too. So I'm actually kind of surprised I'm so low here. Like, what's wrong? All right. 87 projection, 0.4 sim ROI, 1 dupe. Oh, okay. I think I might know what this is about. I think. Interesting. Okay, so let me tell you guys what I'm seeing, right? It seems like, in my opinion, the builder doesn't like this one-off Tyler Higbee. Like these lineups with not a lot of Rams and Tyler Higbee, right? So like the one with Kyren and Higbee is neutral. The one with Higbee alone is negative 31. And then the one with Nakua and Higbee is like negative 3, right? So the Nakua one is really similar to the Kyren one, but then the naked Higbee is kind of on an island by itself, and the builder basically hates this lineup, negative 31%. But then I have a Higbee lineup with 5 total Rams, and the builder likes this one, right? So see, like this lineup has like a lot of correlation with him and he's not like a standalone piece. So it has Stafford, and it has Kupp, it has Williams, it's like a Rams onslaught, right? It kind of tells that story. The builder's like, okay, I can kind of get behind this. So I think the problem is that, his value was like kind of low here. He's 2,200 salary, 1.8 projection. And I don't think the builder likes him because his value is low. So like those lineups with him or without a lot of correlation, the builder is like not in agreement there with me, but I'm almost positive I adjusted him. Okay, so I did adjust him. So that's what happened here. So Higbee, he was at like a 1.8 projection. I bumped him to 3.01. Forget how I did that, but I'm almost positive it had something to do with, I thought he was going to be, I think the builder had him like equal with like Parkinson and like a little higher than Allen. It's like all these guys are like kind of in the same range. And I'm like, you know what? I actually think like he's going to come back and like he's going to be more involved than the other two. So I made a personal change here, and it seems like the builder didn't like that. So what I would actually recommend in this situation is like, okay, let's be a little bit like skeptical of the sim ROI results. This is a good opportunity. Like, hey, did the change you make actually work? Did it make sense? And like, okay, actual score wise, it did. Yeah. He got 8.1, actual fantasy points. So, okay, that's one way to look at it. But the other way I would actually recommend looking at it is like going to a website like footballguys.com. They have like free snap counts. So like I would go to the Rams. So basically I just kind of made a decision. Like I think Higbee is actually going to come in and play more and like not be like second on the depth chart. You know what I mean? And like there was a report like he was going to play like 20 to 25% of snaps. So then I would go to the Rams and then I would go and look, right? Okay. Parkinson played 33. Allen played 23. Hunter Long played 37, and then Higbee played 27. Okay. So, snap counts were like kind of in line. You could go a step further, and I don't know where you would actually find this information, but I'm like positive it's out there. Like how many routes did he run on snaps that he played, right? Like they could have taken like a high value snap approach, right? Where like when he's in, he's mostly like running routes and like not catching or not blocking, right? They're gonna like leave the blocking to some of these other guys. You could go and look, just like on ESPN, right? And like, hey, how many targets did he have? Okay, Higbee 2 targets. Okay, Parkinson 1 target, and then Davis Allen 0 targets, right? Like, okay, well, he did have the most targets out of like that little trio. So all in all, I'm fine with my adjustment here, and I was actually concerned about my sim ROI at first until I came in here and decided like, oh wait, I did make a manual adjustment to Higbee, which is why I got him in more lineups, and that ended up working out for me. So all in all, I'm okay with what we just saw. All right, let's go to Philly. Okay, greater than or equal to 5, sim ROI. All right, 13%, little low. This was a bigger showdown, right? So $15, 6,900 entries, right? So a little bit bigger than a lot of the other contests I've been looking at, and which is why we see a little bit higher dupes here. So lineups don't look terrible. Highest ROIs here, like somewhere in like the 20s, and I'm at like 13. It's not the worst thing in the world. I could probably dig in a little bit more. I mean, my sim average score is a little bit low. There is this A Tong guy who's like low, right about where I am with 3 average dupes, and I have 4. So, I don't feel that bad about it, but could have been a little bit better here. All right, next one. Cardinals, Panthers. Go to users. Okay. Greater than or equal to 10. Sort by sim ROI. Okay, so this one's interesting, right? Neutral sim ROI. But I do have 1 average dupe and 89.7 sim average score. So basically all of these top sim average scores are like in the 90s. So maybe just a little too low here. I don't remember making any being like super opinionated here in regards to any particular player. But underlying metrics don't look that bad. I could dig in here, but I think I've seen like enough good things from all the other ones where I'm just going to chalk it up to variance. Unless I start seeing like neutral, then, I could go further, or I could look at like, hey, maybe there's like another situation with like the Higbee thing. I was saying that's what led to the difference. So could be something like that. Either way, I'm just going to keep rolling. Okay, so kind of back to where I expect to be, right? 44% positive, 1, 2, 3rd on the list. This all looks really good. Happy with it. So this is why when I'm talking about like, hey, you might see some like outliers, like 80, 20, right? Like, am I good 80% of the time? Well, there was like 2 in there that weren't so great, but a lot of the other ones were good, right? So I don't worry about it too much in that case. All right, contest tab, early only, NFL. let's go and look at all right, users 150 sim ROI. Okay, this one's cool, right? 1, 2, 3, fourth on the list here. Zero average dupes, strong sim average score. Happy with this, right? This looks good. Cool. And then in this contest, I had the most entries out of any contest, any other contest I played on the slate. So all good. All right, we're getting into the afternoon window. Let's load up this Vikings Seattle showdown. Okay, users greater than or equal to 5, sort by sim ROI. Cool. So third on the list here. I almost won this one. I think I had like a lineup coming like top 5. Oh, sixth place here. Yeah, we were sweating this one at the end. If DK Metcalf would have caught a pass toward the end there, instead of letting the ball get picked by quitting on his route, we would have been vibing. But it's all good. All right, Jags Vegas greater than or equal to 5. Sim ROI 30%. Cool. Top sim ROI in this contest. This is great. Keeping it rolling. Buffalo Pats. All right. Users greater than or equal to 5. All right, 25% sim ROI. It's like 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6th here. Metrics all look good. Sim average score right in line. Dupes right in line. Perfect. All right, last showdown for the afternoon window. Niners, Miami. Users. Try reloading that. So this one's a little bit bigger again, like the Washington one. So I'm kind of interested how I grade it out. Ugh, this one's the worst. Negative 33% sim ROI. So bad. All right. So highest in this contest is like over 10%. So I had no dupes. Oh, I just sacrificed way too much sim average score here, right? All these other players like 98, 99, 100, 94, 95, and I'm at 89.78. So yeah, I got no uniques. Yeah, I got 5, or I got no average dupes. I got 5 uniques, but oh my gosh, I sacrificed way too much projection to do that. That's why people say like, hey, you can play unique lineups. Like they're just going to be lineups that nobody else would play because like they're so bad. So apparently I picked some like pretty bad lineups here. Oh, I know why. I was actually really high on Patrick Taylor yesterday. I thought that he was going to be like far and away the featured back for the Niners. And he was, but he did not play well. They just like abandoned him. They started giving the ball to Debo out of the backfield. I was watching the game. He was like slipping and falling. Dude couldn't get like 5 yards. Oh my God. He almost like, he like caught a ball and like it went up in the air and like somebody almost picked it. Oh, it was bad. So the high negative sim ROI definitely is coming from the fact that I was high on Patrick Taylor, which I have a feeling we're going to see the same exact thing here in the afternoon window, right? If my sim ROIs are coming in low, it's probably because I was heavy on him. So that's just a good thing to remember up front. All right, afternoon only. Users, 150. Sim ROI. See here, my sim ROI is like 6%. Highest is like probably over 10. I'm actually really happy with this, right? Considering like some of my personal takes with like the Patrick Taylor thing and stuff, still have good sim ROI. And, whenever you make some adjustments like that, I think in general expect to come in like a little bit lower. But like, what if I didn't do that, right? Well, then my sim ROI would probably be like, I don't know, 5 to 10% higher, and I'd have been right up here. So some personal takes, still strong sim ROI sets. That's probably why my sim average score is lower. And like, if I think about it, you can think about it this way, right? I bumped Taylor 2 points. Well, add that to my like average here, and like now my sim average score is like right in line with a lot of these other players. And I wonder if I filter, can it show me how much I had of him? Huh. It's not updating. At least it doesn't look like it's updating. I thought if I filtered here, it would show my exposures. I think it's supposed to. Let me just send something in. Using plus magnifying glass on user in flashback, not updating to show their exposures in the projections tab. I think it's supposed to do that. I think it used to do that in the past. So I'll make a note to our team here. Oh, man, I need like some more Tylenol or something. All right. Moving on from afternoon only, afternoon turbo. We're going to hit the turbo. We're going to hit the night showdown and NBA, and then we're going to call it, because we're getting pretty close to NBA time here. But still a lot of people hanging out with me, so appreciate you guys watching the show. All right. Afternoon turbo, 3 games only. Let's just look at this 10 entry one, since the most is 20. This one probably have a bunch of Taylor again. Greater than or equal to 10, sim ROI. Cool. So again, right, a little bit lower than like some of the top people in like this like 25% range, but 17% positive. Sim average score is a little bit low. Again, another Taylor slate. I'm really happy with my results given my personal takes here. All right. Last NFL slate. Bucks, Dallas. Greater than or equal to 3. Sim ROI. Cool. 15%. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 on the list here. Happy with my metrics. Everything looks pretty in line. Cool beans. All right. NBA. This one was close. I was sweating the fadeaway for a while. All right. Let's just go look at the fadeaway. Users. Okay. Greater than or equal to 10. Sim ROI. Cool. 45% second here on the list. Pretty happy with how we graded out here. Sim average score is high. Dupe 0. This all looks really good. So I'm pretty happy. You know, I would basically like, I would do this, right? And then be like, okay, do I need to make any adjustments for next week? And then go from there. So like my notes, right? NBA process looks good, and NFL showdown process looks good. NFL classic big slate looks good. Like the early only look good. The afternoon turbos were pretty good. You know, 3-4 gamers, but that Saturday 2 gamer, yeah, we're definitely making some updates to the process for the Saturday 2 gamer. From like the last 5 days. Hope you guys got something useful out of this that you're able to apply to your future slates here. If you guys ever want to get signed up for the show, drop your DK username in the Office Hours channel. Let me know what sport and slate you want me to review. Our next show will be on Friday for Build Review. I will see you all tomorrow for Office Hours. So until then, everybody, take care. Good luck. Thanks. Bye.